Alright, so today I'm going to be throwing in my Valenti LED taillights. I've had these for a while now, except the weather's been really cold. Today's not really the warmest day, but in Canadian standards, it's like -10. We just had a bunch of snow, so it's pretty nice. So it's going to be pretty simple. We're just going to swap these out and throw in our LEDs. So these actually aren't the original taillights that this car comes with. So this is a 2007. So 2005 to 2007 Subaru Legacy wagons, they actually came with a similar taillight, but this section here is amber. Kind of my whole goal with this car, as you can see, if you look at the front, that is not amber. Those are no longer amber. So I've kind of been going through and trying to eliminate anything amber on this car. I don't know why, I just think it looks a lot cleaner. So that's why originally one of my friends, he had a 2009 Subaru Outback that he was scrapping. And I said, hey, if you're getting rid of the car, do you mind swapping out taillights? So put these in, they were a lot cleaner. I was gonna originally just change this to be all LEDs within the factory lenses. But I decided, you know what, instead of having kind of a mediocre LED setup, why not change it to a full LED taillight? So that's why I'm installing the Valentis. So the first thing you're gonna have to do, super simple and very obvious, open the trunk. Alright. So now what you're gonna find is on each side, it's basically exactly the same. You're gonna have a Phillips head pop clip there, and then one down here. And then you kind of just wiggle this garnish out and it should come off. So you just loosen these up and they'll kind of pop out a little bit. And once you have enough to grab with your nail, you kind of just grab that, wiggle it out. Or you can use a flathead and kind of pry that loose. So I'm just going to loosen both of these and do that because it's a lot easier. I don't have fingernails really, like most guys. So sometimes they pop out super easily. Sometimes, like this one, they're a little bit more stubborn. You just kind of work your way around the edges, make sure you try not to damage anything, and after it's out a decent amount, you just pull it out, done. So actually the easiest way that I found is kind of go along here, gently pry it apart, make sure you're not putting too much pressure, and then this should pop out. So these might be a little bit tight, so it might be better just to use a wrench and socket to get these out. The last time that I swapped these taillights, I didn't put them on super tight, so these come off pretty easily. But sometimes with these Phillips heads, you can tend to kind of strip them, and then that's not really that much fun. So after you get those two bolts out, you just kind of pull this whole assembly forward, and it's just held in by rails. So that's all you do, and then all you have to do is basically remove these bulbs, each one, and then you're ready to move on to the next step. So from this point, you're going to want to remove each one of these bulbs from these connectors. This small running light one, it's actually not going to be plugged in for the Valenti taillights. So you can kind of leave this as is, but then it's just going to be not really doing anything. So it's probably better to remove the bulb in case you break anything. Okay, so interesting fact, these taillights, I just wired them in the way that the factory taillights are wired in. But the signal and the brake lights are actually switched on these. So for these ones, like on the factory ones, your top portion where it's red is your brake system, and the bottom portion where mine were clear is your turn signals. But these are actually the other way around. So the first time I actually plugged these in, like I did with the factory ones, obviously I was a little bit confused because I was flashing the red and I was like, wait, that doesn't make sense. So basically what you want to do is when you're installing these on your car, the normal connector that goes to the bulb for the brake light will go on the bottom portion, which is your brake light now, and then the bottom portion of your factory ones where it's your turn signal will go up to the top. So it's a little bit flip-flopped. I don't know why they did that, because your turn signal is, I'll show you guys here right now. your turn signal portion is way bigger than your brake signal. But I mean, with LEDs, they should be decently bright enough, so just want to give you a heads up when you're putting these into your car. All you have to do now is just kind of try to tuck your wiring nicely. I like to always double check that this is actually working, so turn the car's lights on, see that your signal is functioning and your brakes are functioning, and then basically just, I'll show you on the other side here. So you have these two circle tabs. These are where they're going to line up on the actual body itself, so you just kind of have to slide those in, make sure that they're lined up, and then you can just slide the entire assembly in. And basically after you check that it works, you just do the reverse, pop these two Phillips / 10mm bolts, and then throw the cover back on, and you can move on to the other side. Alright, so this is the kind of final look with the new taillights in. Like I mentioned, just kind of, these cars are a little bit weird. Depending on how you plug in the wiring, sometimes these won't actually turn on. So I ran into that issue when I swapped out my original taillights for the facelift taillights, which was a 2008-2009. So just double check that, and if it still doesn't turn on, you're probably just plugging in the LED connector reversed. So just flip that around and then it should work. But yeah, overall, I'm not actually 100% sure if I like these, but they do nicely darken up the tails a lot. Almost makes me want to smoke these reverse light areas just to kind of clean everything up. But yeah, doesn't really help that my car is filthy, but these taillights are clean. But yeah, hopefully this helps you out. Basically you can use this when you're changing out your bulbs or even replacing your taillights.